Yes, y'all. Welcome to Office Hours. Welcome. Just turning off my music here in the background. Welcome, everybody. Let me know that you can see me and hear me okay, and we will get this show on the road. And this is Office Hours, which means it is open Q&A. I don't have an agenda for you. So that means that you need to fire in some questions or we will all just sit here and stare at each other awkwardly. So awesome. What's up, Richard? There he is, my man. Are you in Vegas? Awesome. Sarah, Dorn, Mr. Robert Brennan. Very good. Yeah, man, go for it. When I have a chance, let's do it right now. That's what this call is all about. You can go ahead and type it in, or if you want to come on camera, I am posting the link right now, okay? What's up, Rajesh? Good to see you, sir. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Elias, am I saying that right? Or is it Elias? Elias, I bet. When making your local media company, should we only curate or create original content? Awesome, cool. Yeah, keep the questions coming in, gang, and I will go through them. Media company should only curate. My man.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Mike? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you in Vegas?
Yeah, yes, sir. We're getting ready to go out right now.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. We're here for Life is Beautiful, the music festival, and some other stuff.
Awesome. Good for you, man. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. So I had a question. My biggest thing right now is I know how to acquire a customer. That's not an issue for me. I can do them consistently now. I can consistently get people on the software, at least to claim the trial. Yeah. My biggest thing now is one, getting someone to their golden moment fast, quickly, preferably before the trial ends. Yep. And then just really retaining them. So it's a slow trickle. And I don't know what a realistic number is for trial to actual long-term paying customer. I think right now it's like 20% for me, which I don't know what's realistic or not, but I need to improve that retainment. If I can even, improve that number by 10, 15, 20%, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, I mean, Richard is building software and training on for the tutoring business. And so he's got people coming into his system on a free trial, as he's saying, and 20% conversion from trial to paying customer. And then wants to see if he can improve that, and then wants to see if he can improve retention, but probably just in general as well, activation in general. And so he was referring to this magic moment. And so there's this idea in services in particular, and critically important in services where there's a recurring revenue component, that you want to get somebody, I mean, and this is true of any product or service. It's just particularly true in this recurring revenue service business, that you want to get people to this magic moment as quickly as possible. And this magic moment is when they feel enough of the value of what they're investing in that they get the payoff, right? Whatever that payoff was for them, they get it. Okay. This is much easier in most products than it is services in general, because a product has something tangible, right? If I sell you a particular food or a drink and you taste it and you go, oh, that tastes good, right? That's the magic moment. If you buy a Porsche and you get out on the road and you gun it and you feel that, and you notice that people are looking at your sexy new car, that's your magic moment, right? So products are more tangible than services to begin with. And so that makes services a little bit more difficult to sell, and a little bit more difficult to make sure that somebody is experiencing that magic moment. If there's a recurring revenue component to it, then that's critically important, because they know that there's a payment coming. And so they want to experience that magic moment. And they also want to know that the value is going to continue to be there to justify the fact that they're paying over and over again. So one, is 20% good or bad? 20%, if you look at most software businesses, SaaS software businesses, then that's really good. because most SaaS software businesses, though, are getting a tremendous volume of free trials coming in, and they're coming in pretty much cold. So of course their number is going to be much, much, much lower. Whereas you're actually working to get your people in there. I mean, you're doing marketing, you're doing webinars, things like that. So you're actually doing some educational component, and it's a much lower volume, of course, than a lot of most of these SaaS companies, because we're focused on a pretty small niche. You don't have a massive budget, all that good stuff. So we want that number, to be 20%. I still think at least 20%. I think that 20% is probably still, I would consider that still a solid number. Can you get it better? For sure. I think if you get it to 30 or 35%, you're knocking it out of the park. Which is huge. I mean, to go from 20 to 35 is almost doubling, right? So that's a big leap. I think that, so I look at this in a very similar fashion that I would look at any B2B sales transaction that I'm making for any type of service. So if I was selling my IT services before at $2,500 a month, I would expect between 20 and 35% close rate is a solid close rate. And if I looked across salespeople, I would see that range. So it's not that you're completely out of the realm of what you should expect at all. Do I think that you can improve it? Of course, there's always things that you can do to improve it. What could you do to improve it? I'd have to take a harder look at, the specifics of exactly what you're offering to be able to give you I think real solid suggestion. In terms of getting them to that magic moment, though, I think that the most important thing there, and this goes for anybody selling any service, is to just be completely deliberate about it and do everything that you can to push them there, even if they're not getting there themselves. So in other words, like Kutenda, with my marketing services business in particular, we used to literally push to get people to do what they needed to do. I mean, it's human nature. You'd get these business owners to sign up for something, but you still couldn't get them to then take action and follow through on the thing that they signed up for. And then 30 days later, they call us and go, "Oh man, look, I know I need this, but I'm just not getting it done right now. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you guys." Right? We couldn't let that happen. So we assigned them a coach as they were coming on board. And we told them, "Hey, you're going to have a coach from our organization. And it's our coach's job to hold your feet to the fire. We know human nature. We know you're busy. We know you got a million other things to do, but we know that this is important and you signed up because it's important. And so we're going to support you in that by holding your feet to the fire. So our coach is going to provide accountability for you to get stuff done." So we would call him, harass him, "Hey, look, we'll sit down, like if it was, as an example, they needed to do something to get their website finally launched, right? We build a new website. They have to finish something to hit the go button, and they're just not getting it done. Then our coach would literally call them up and do GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting session with them, and just say, "Hey, look, I'll just stay here on the phone with you. We're just going to walk through it right now, and we're going to hit publish." So I mean, it was literally that high touch when we needed it to be, and it was literally that forceful when we needed it to be. And our customers appreciated that because they knew that that was in their best interest, So that was the approach that we took. I think in your world, Richard, it's probably got to be a similar type of thing. I think the other thing there is just to be looking for what is that magic moment and what's the easiest one that I can get them to. So that was one of the reasons why we found that the free website offer was so valuable for us, is because we could get a transformative feeling website built and launched for them for almost no cost to us, do it within just a handful of days. And all of a sudden they see this beautiful new website pop up. They have a totally different image of themselves and their business when all of a sudden they see them represented as, "Oh, look, I look sharp now." Right? Whereas before, most of them had pretty janky websites, not very good, not very well designed, just kind of sloppy, whatever. And so that was something that within just a handful of days, we could have that thing published for them. Even if they didn't publish it live to the web yet, just the fact that they could see it and see that we produce that quickly to them was, oh, well, now this is worth the money. Like, because if I was going to have somebody design me a website, I was getting quoted $5,000. Mike's service is only $297 a month, and I get all this other stuff. Like, I've already kind of got an ROI on the year, right? So that was one of the things for us is we realized that our magic moment in our system was too difficult to get to. It was too slow to get to. There was too much training involved. There was too much effort on their part, all those things. The website was this flashy thing that we could just launch and they'd be like, ooh, ah, and it would get them past that initial hump.
Right. That makes perfect sense. That's what I'm finding right now is most people are getting overwhelmed because I'm like, okay, let's go in, let's get you a sales process, build a funnel, connect the stuff, then run Facebook ads. And it's super overwhelming for this teacher who has no experience marketing or doing anything at all. And so I think I need to put more thought into that. Does something like that make sense for something that's only $97 a month? I mean, so
I mean, my free website service was $97 a month, right? So it's a free website, but you get you pay $97 a month for hosting and maintenance, and that type of stuff, right? So those customers were with me for years and years, right? When I ended up getting rid of that business, I had to like kick people off because it was like, guys, you got to move your website, right? So it's for the rest of what you're doing, are you providing the whole system for $97 a month?
Yeah.
And do they upsell based on volume of usage, SMS and email?
No, not yet. I don't have that. And to be honest, none of them really have much volume yet. I might have one or two that have decent volume, but no, I don't have that set up now.
Yeah, I would definitely have that in place so that you have a path to make more from the customers as they grow. For $97 a month, I think honestly, like Richard, you need a little bit of a strategy session. I feel like you need to go like, and maybe we can do this on our next office hours call. And I know between now and then you'll get a lot of it done, but maybe come back on our next call and let's brainstorm how you can introduce. There's always a way to restructure your services and restructure your offer so that you're getting to that moment faster and easier, leaner, just less feeling like somebody's got to get on a treadmill and crank it up and run uphill. And, because that's exactly what's happening is those people don't know what you're doing, don't know what they're doing. Right. There might even be like, I'm interested to think through, is there a one-to-many solution like on the whole ad and lead generation thing?
So I did a webinar yesterday morning. And one of the things that I added was a fast action takers bonus. So anybody that signed up immediately would get access to this live event with me where we just, it's one to small group, really one to many, I guess, where I'm just going to walk them through, hey, okay, we're going to get your chat widget on your site. We're going to get the contact form on your website. And I'm just going to walk them through because I was hoping that there might be some stickiness to that. And then they'll immediately see some inherent value in that. And then I'll end it with a game plan.
So you're not building them a website right now?
No. So right now, most of my tutors have a website.
Are they good?
I mean, that's debatable. So I would say 50-50. Some of them are okay. Some of them are not very good at all. It comes with a website. I have a little website that's already built within Smart Tutor. But it's the thing that I'm really selling them is the funnel. Yeah,
I get that. I think that we may just want to test offers and test messaging here to see what we can get the best response from. Because I mean, the funnel could still be the thing. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying I think that we should test. I I feel like as an example, again, going back to that website, man, it is so easy for you to launch a new website for them if you use HighLevel effectively, that it's a really high value delivery, and it's really sticky, because if somebody presses publish on that website, they're not going away. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that it's what we need, though, is a little bit of a strategy session to say what's the thing that can deliver the wow as quickly as possible, and make people, have that moment, and then it's kind of the almost like the other things will then be a little bit of a back door, kind of like, okay, we got you all excited. Now we got to put in the work to follow through on this, and that's just reality. But I think like giving them some of that candy up front that's going to get them all fired up is important.
Yeah, cool. I love that, man. Yeah, I think that'll be great. Let me put some thought into that,
Yeah.
and then, like you said, I can hop on your next call, and we can do a strategy session. That'll be great.
Totally, yeah. And shoot me your latest sales page and stuff, just so I can take a look at it, and then we can do a little bit of brainstorming.
Okay, the sales page for which thing exactly? For
whatever offer you're making off that webinar.
Oh, okay, got it.
Cool.
Okay, I'll shoot that over to you, man.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Have a great time in Vegas.
Hey, thank you so much. Hope you have a good day.
All right, man. You too.
See ya.
Bryce, you want to come on board?
Hi. How are you?
Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Probably don't remember me, but I was on one of two of your calls like 6 months ago.
I do actually remember. Yeah, you look familiar.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And at the time, so I started HighLevel through you, and still am. And then I started my agency in France,
Awesome.
helping gym owners in France.
Awesome.
It's going okay. It's going well, actually, but it's taking up slowly. Like I have a few customers, but I still cannot live off of it. Like I could if I don't know. I'm having my 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to when I come back home, trying to work on that, and build up some videos to help them out, and reach out to gym owners and so. But it's taking more time than I would have expected or would have hoped for. But anyway, it's going okay, but I still need some time. And today, the reason I'm reaching out today to you is because for the first time I had a how is it called, when someone subscribes through you to something, you have a commission. Yeah, I was missing the word. I had my first ever recurring commission, but not through HighLevel, through another French program that I used to use before that.
Yep.
And it just made me think like maybe I can also, while I am building up my my agency, maybe like document everything that I'm doing. The French people, like not the one the gym owners, but maybe other people like me who would like to to
of course
build something up, and maybe just document things, and also talk about HighLevel, because they also have a commission.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that because you're obviously one of the top 3, I think, in HighLevel.
Yep.
The affiliate. So I was wondering, do you think this would be a waste of my energy and time to do those things also next to it, like on the side, or would you recommend this? That's what.
So good question. So there's a handful of things here I want to address. One, good to see you. Thank you for coming back, and thanks for taking action. It's awesome. I'm glad to hear things are going well. So one of the most important things that you said here at the beginning that I just want to make sure and address for everybody is it's taking longer than I thought and I would have expected. And it is painful for me to see how many people quit or quit with their full heart in what they're doing because they had false expectations about how long it should take. right? So this is critically important, because if you don't understand what is the length of a typical sales cycle and what are the typical conversion rates through your sales cycle, then you could think that you're not doing as well as you should be doing, when in fact you could be doing really well, and it's just a matter of time and keeping up the effort, right? And so I stress this, and I'm not saying that this is what you're doing. I'm just, it's such an important point that I want to make sure and hit it home for everybody, because I know we have a lot of early stage entrepreneurs on here. If you are, particularly with sales, everybody, particularly with sales is an emotional game. It's a full contact sport, right? It is, you've got everything, and I'm trying to make money. I'm doing things that make me uncomfortable. I'm getting rejected. Like, everything about it is emotional. And so if you let those emotions drive you without also having a good handle on the numbers, then you can make some mistakes. You can let those emotions, take you all over the place, versus, I mean, look, and I can draw up the numbers on a whiteboard out of my head, because I know most people don't know. And I've got some videos up on the YouTube channel that go through these. But a typical small business sales cycle, okay, for any type of service where they're signing up for, I don't care if it's IT services, marketing services, accounting services, anything where they're kind of investing in a partner in their business, right? Which is what your services are. It's like, okay, you're now my marketing partner in my business. Anytime that they are signing up for something like that, you've got a 30 to 60 day sales cycle from the point that somebody says, hey, Bryce, I'm really interested in what you have to offer. I'm considering this. Show me what you got. So like this is all the way down towards the very end of the game, where it's like, I'm saying, okay, yeah, you really got my attention. I have that problem. I need that problem fixed. It looks like you're a good alternative to do it. So, tell me what you got. We're still talking 30 to 60 days is a typical sales cycle. So then if you do the math from, well, what does it take to get somebody to that point? That can be all kinds of steps that each have their own drop off and each have their own time period. So you can be looking at a really long period of time before you even get somebody to that point. And then we just talked about with Richard, if you end up closing 20% of those or 30% of those, you're actually doing pretty darn solid. So when you do the math, if you work that math backwards, you realize, oh, wow, this takes a while, one. And two, in order for me to speed it up, I have to have a lot of volume up at the top. I've got to be getting a lot of attention, talking to a lot of people. I need 1,000 businesses out there hearing my name and going, yeah, that Mike guy is onto something. I think I want me some of that, right? So we've just got to be realistic about the numbers. It's so critical not to just let emotion rule the game here, okay? So I can't stress that enough. So on to your actual question, though. Look, I think everybody who has the capacity, which I think is everybody, if we all honestly look at it, I mean, unless you're raising 7 kids by yourself and already working 3 jobs and all that type of stuff, we have the capacity to start an information business on the side, because it just does not take that much time and that much effort to have it start making you money and making an impact. Okay. For those of you who are not as familiar with my leverage brand, the LVRG brand, if you go to lvrg.com, that's where I talk more about that business, information marketing business and software and things like that. So if you're interested in that, make sure and go and, opt in someplace on that site, get on that list. But I think everybody in their right mind should be in this business, should be in the information business, should be in the affiliate marketing business. It has been so good to me in so many ways. And I think in today's world where there's a lot of insecurity in a lot of things, we don't know what's happening with the economy. We don't know what's happening with interest rates. We don't know what's happening with politics. There's wars going on, all that type of stuff. Like, I just think it is one of the best backup plans, safety net, whatever you want to call it, that you can have. So I'm a huge fan of everybody doing it. And so my answer would be yes. If you have the capacity to do it, I would say do it. I would say also to make sure one of the things that you see a lot of people in the particular space that you're thinking about going into, where you're like helping other entrepreneurs, like I like to do, helping other entrepreneurs, make sure that you are always being a player coach. Okay. And what I mean by that is that you're way too young to just be a coach at this point. And what I mean is, if I'm going to buy from you, I think if you guys are buying from me, okay, I've already got some really solid experience. I've already built and sold companies, bought companies, hired and fired hundreds of people. I've already done all kinds of things like that, raised a lot of money, gone nearly broke several times and come back from it. I mean, so I've got a lot of experience, but I still do not expect any of you to listen to anything I have to say unless I'm doing it every day too. I'm out building my businesses. I'm out, hustling. Like I spend the far majority of my time out doing stuff, trying to learn and build and everything, just like you guys are. I just think it's so critical that you maintain that. So your agency, your thing that you're doing with HighLevel, like keep building that, keep doing everything you can to grow and learn. And then, share those things that you're learning with other people, right? I mean, that's awesome. That helps other people shortcut their success, and that's what's so cool about doing what I do. I love it. It's like, if I can help other people shortcut their success, that's awesome to me. So do it. Just make sure that you're staying active in, in that core business as well, or whatever business you decide to do.
Can I have a follow-up question on that?
Of course.
Great. So thank you so much. That helped a lot. It's actually like, I feel like I need to have like 90% or so of my attention focused on my agency, because this is what's going to bring me the more results and the fastest, obviously, because when I close one client, I think at that point, when I close 2 or 3 more clients, I just can live off of it. Like I can quit my job and it's going to be okay. And the other thing is more of a long time and, safety option, like, because I have recurring revenues, which is what everyone we want, And I was wondering, when I try to reach out to clients, I have my brand, my agency brand. Okay, it's a fitness brand, and I position myself as an expert. That I have become a little bit like over the next few months, because I have learned so much things from professionals that I can't put myself as a professional. And so that's the one thing, that's the agency part. And on the other side, I would like to teach to a completely different kind of people how to build their own agency. And it could be like about any other niche, like it doesn't fitness in principle, it can be anything else. And so I was thinking about have a completely different, brand.
Yeah.
And this is what I used to have before that, before I got to know you and to know HighLevel. I had another brand that I tried to build up, just about online marketing. It went okay, but like nothing crazy, and I just gave it up. And then I transitioned to HighLevel and the fitness branch. And now I would like to use this YouTube channel that I built up with just a few followers, but I would like to use this brand to help people to bring or to build their own agency. So I would kind of have like 2 different entities. Like the one is the agency with the fitness brand, and the other one would be to help people to build their own agency with another brand. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's exactly the way that you should do it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's what
my media business is theresandiego.com. That's my local marketing business, and services at scale is my training business. So yep, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you. Thanks for coming, and thanks for the questions, and keep me posted.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Let's see here. We're going to do some questions then. Let's see here. When making your local media company, should we only curate or create original content? That's a good question, Elias. I don't know that I can say for sure, like only like, that you have to create original content. There are a good number of successful businesses out there that I think just curate, and it's curate with some context and perspective added. So in that way, it becomes original. You know what I mean? There's got to be some word for that. I don't know, hybrid original curate or whatever. But if I share an article with you guys, and I also share my perspective on why that article is important, why you should be paying attention to it, what I think you can get out of it, I'm adding value on top of that content. If here in a local market, there's, in San Diego, there's 100,000 events happening every weekend, and somebody's trying to figure out what to do with their weekend. Do I have to create any original content to add value? No. I think I can just curate that content and just let people know, hey, here are the 10 things that I think that you should do with your weekend, right? There's 100,000 options out there, but here's the 10 that I think are worth, tuning into. I think that's fine. Now, let me just say, it can depend on the medium as well. So in other words, on Instagram now, as an example, people used to just curate other people's photos on Instagram. That's definitely getting harder to do now, because Instagram is looking for more original content, and because they're also going more video based. They want, it's a little bit harder, I think, to try and, get somebody's video and reshare it. So, yeah, cool. So working on building a local Instagram page. So I think when it comes to like Instagram and TikTok and things like that now, I think it's harder, but actually, who does a great job of this, Elias? I don't know if you have ever followed Snoop Dogg on Instagram. That guy does a great job of just curating funny stuff on Instagram. And he every once in a while has an original post. I'm just pulling it up here but he is such a character, and he is such a brand in and of himself that, and he's involved in so many things. Like, I don't know if you know Snoop at all, but he's actually a very savvy and interesting, business person as well. And so he's got original content on there, but he's also got, I guess my point is you feel like, he could have just nothing but original content for sure, because he's living such an interesting life. I'd say he's about 50-50. But he shares a lot of videos and stuff on there that are just stupid funny. So I don't know. But Instagram, I can tell you, they are looking for more original content, and the way that they check that is pretty sophisticated. They have all kinds of technology that lets them know, oh, this image has already been used, this video has already been used. Was it created using the native Instagram tools, or was it created using third-party tools? Like, they evaluate all that stuff. So, that one I think is actually getting harder to do this way. So just something to consider. And ultimately, obviously test. But I think that even if you have to have some original content in, like website or newsletter or whatever, I think that in those you can actually get away with it only being a very small percentage of original content. I think it can be almost 100% curated. All right. I hope that helps. Good luck. Keep me posted. Let's see here. What is suggested time frame for running the contest ad for the newsletter? Okay, cool. This is a good question. So she's referring to, building a newsletter, doing some sort of giveaway contests, like, we're giving away tickets to concerts and things like that all the time. It really depends on the value of the actual giveaway, kind of the value and the maybe a little bit of wow factor of the giveaway. So in other words, if you're giving away a gift certificate for $50 to, Olive Garden, right? You're going to get a very limited run out of that. You run that for a limited period of time, and then, you will see your cost per lead start to go up dramatically. Okay. And that is the real answer, is if you look at the data and you see your cost per lead will start to skyrocket. It's because you got your low hanging fruit of people who are interested in a $50 gift card to Olive Garden. The rest of the market is like, whatever. I'm not even going to click on that ad. Okay. Versus if you gave a $250 VIP experience to the hottest restaurant in town, you're going to be able to run that longer. And again, you look at the data and you see your cost per lead is going to stay nice and low and consistent for a lot longer. So to put some just general terms on this for you though, if I'm doing something that's obviously lower value, I usually don't run it for more than a couple of weeks. And so I don't know what market you're in San Diego. We're in San Diego. There's probably, realistically, the audience that I'm targeting is probably 250,000 people. Okay. So in the San Diego greater area, there's, over 1 million, but really who I'm targeting, 250,000 people or so. And then I'll run that for $20 a day budget for 10 days to 2 weeks for a lower value thing like that. For a higher value thing, I'll run it for a month, and I'll run it with, it could be still just $20 a day, but that could go up to, $50 a day or something like that. If it's a really hot one and I want to generate a bunch of excitement with it because I know it's an exciting thing, then I'll run it, for a month at a higher budget like that. So hopefully that gives you some context there, and ultimately let the numbers drive it. So pay attention to what your cost per lead is and just keep an eye on that number. And then depending on the size of your market, the sexiness of the offer and all that stuff, those are the variables that are really going to impact this. And, you do this 5 or 10 times here over the next 6 months, and you'll have a really good feel for it. All right. Rajesh, awesome. That's awesome. Well, don't let it be just about content intake. Make sure we're taking action too. Okay. Yes, Jonathan, absolutely. College drop off. Thank you for asking, Rob. It was really, really, really good. I am very, very pleased with where she's at and what she's doing, and just, I know most people will say this about their kids anyway, but she really is just a great kid and a special kid, and has worked very hard to be who she wants to be and be true to herself and follow the things that are interesting to her, which of course makes, dad very happy and very proud. And this environment and school that she's in, I think she's just going to absolutely, thrive in. So that's really, really cool to see. It's fun. It makes a papa proud. That's for sure. But it was hard to say goodbye. She's a long ways away. Awesome. Thank you, David. How do we test offers and messaging if we don't have any customers? Okay, this is a great question. The easiest way is run ads. You run ads with specific messages in the ads and see what people click on. That's the easiest way in the world. Now, I mean, you can go all the way. So let's say I have 3 different offers that I'm contemplating. I can actually set all 3 of those up on sales pages and let people come all the way through to like doing the transaction and see, hey, did they buy this offer or that offer more? And then literally, respond to the people and say, hey, everybody, thank you very much for showing your interest. That was a test. We're not quite ready to deliver yet. There's a lot of startups that have been built that way. Okay. They just put something out there, start charging for it, and then go back to the customers and say, hey, this was a test. We just want to make sure people actually wanted this product or service. Thank you. Here's a full refund plus $100 gift card. Plus, we'd love to be able to sit down with you and hear from you why, this was interesting enough for you to buy and, yada, yada, right? A lot of companies have been built that way. But you don't have to go that far. You can get really good data just by running, 10 different ads with 10 different variations of messaging and or offer, depending on what it is that we're talking about, right? So if you were split testing, does a $9 price point versus a $19 price point versus a $29 price point work better? You could have all three as ads with literally the price point right there in the ad and see what's the difference in click-through rate and use that at least as an indication of, it's not perfect data because they didn't go all the way through and buy, but at least it's an indication of the difference in response between 9, 19, and 29. You can do the same thing with value proposition statements. So my value proposition statement is we do X, Y, Z for restaurants to help them solve this problem. Okay. Maybe there's 5 different, 10 different versions of that you've brainstormed and you're wondering, hey, which of these is best? Let the market decide. Run ads for all 10 and just let the data tell you, hey, here's what people are responding to, right? It's an awesome way to get really, really good data, really fast, really affordably. And the thing that I love about it, Rajesh, is that you're always wrong. What I mean is that you always learn something from this process. I every single time I run ad campaigns and I'm split testing, before it goes live, I always try and guess what the winner is going to be. And I'm almost always wrong. Still to this day, after spending millions of dollars on advertising, I still am almost always wrong. So let the market decide, right? Because you're not going to be right. You've got too much wrapped up in it. Patrick says, hey, Mike, following up on the great call to Clarence, can you share specific thoughts on the audit? I know it's aligned with the R4 and wondering about specific tools, automated manual report format. Thanks. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Patrick. So, inside of the R4 snapshot, which you have, inside of the R4 snapshot, there's an audit built in there. And that's what I would suggest is that you just set up the audit as a survey in HighLevel and you just do it that way. That way, all the information is coming right back into HighLevel associated with that particular prospect or customer, right? You got all the data right there. You can do stuff with the data if you want to, because it's in HighLevel, right? So I just set that up. I would just set that up as a survey in HighLevel and just have people go through. So that way you can just automatically send it out to them. Hey, thanks for coming on board. Here's the audit. And that way you can see, what they've done, what they haven't done. You can do automated follow-up based on the fact that they haven't responded to it yet, like all that stuff. So absolutely just do it in there. It does not have to be anything fancy at all. Okay. I know that there's all kinds of automated, cool audit tools out there. And those are great. Some of those automated audit tools are fantastic for data and information that can easily be automated, in terms of gathering and analyzing it. So like there's great SEO reports out there. And that's because it can see, well, here's, how these URLs are ranking and how many backlinks you have and all that type of stuff and what your competition is ranking versus you. So an SEO report can just go out and get all that in a very automated way. So that's fantastic. The stuff that we are gathering, if you use the audit format that I've recommended, it's less automated. It's a little bit more based on knowledge and experience of the individual, business owner and of you as their marketing, expert that they're working with. So, and then in terms of report or anything, all I've ever done is just a very, very simple scorecard. So they go and they give all their answers. Okay. And, do you have a review capture system in place? Yes or no? Okay. If it's a yes, you got 3 points. If it's a no, you got 0 points, right? And then at the end of it, I add up all their points and say, oh, out of 100 total points, you got a 47. So as you can see, we have a lot of work to do. And here are your biggest areas of opportunity and, that type of thing. So that's all I've ever done, Patrick. We have in the past put that score and the feedback of the score into a very simple, just one slide presentation slide where it's just like, hey, on each of the 4 R's, you score this on this R, this on this R, this on this R for a total score of this, with like 2 lines of very standard, just kind of, here's what this means and here's what we should do about it. And then gotten on a call with them, a go-to meeting call where we can share the screen and just walk them through it. And then just said, here's what our next steps are. Do you agree that those next steps make sense for your business? Yep, great. Here's how much it costs. Let's get rolling. Right? So that's how I've done it, Patrick. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, I promise you. Okay? So don't let it hold you up at all. Chandra says, how to monetize Instagram and Facebook posts. I mean, I think that there's how to monetize posts and then there's how to monetize an account. Okay. So an individual post. So, if I just post XYZ on Instagram, unless that post is getting a ton of traffic and I'm growing a crazy popular account on Instagram, I'm not really going to monetize that. If I grow a really popular account on Instagram, Instagram will pay me, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anybody, YouTube, they will pay you because you're getting so much traffic and visibility, right? That it's allowing them to sell ads very successfully. So that's the way to monetize a post. Instagram and Facebook have been experimenting with shopping features that would allow you to also monetize by sending people off to specific products and having them buy. Instagram is actually pulling back on that because it has not been as successful as they hoped. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But monetizing an account is not that hard. It's just good old advertising. So I have their San Diego, which has 5,000, fans or whatever on my Instagram account. And those fans are a certain type in San Diego. And if a restaurant wants to show up right here, I can say, hey, look, it's, $375 for us to post about your restaurant. Right. And so that's just a very obvious, very direct, simple model that works. So if you've got an account that's got good activity to it, I'll fly back here, then you can always sell, just, hey, if you want us to post about you on our account, it's just advertising, right? It's just advertising. So you have a rate and charge that. Yep, I answered that. Okay. Do you recommend running ads to a lead magnet instead of the foot in the door offers? I think, Tim, both is always the answer. Both is always the answer. So if you have some realistic limitations on your budget, though, what I would say is always run ads to the thing that will get the right prospect to raise their hand as fast and easily and most affordably as you possibly can. And then you can retarget that audience, right? So in other words, the way I built up services that scale is I wrote a blog post that, it had an offer in it, in that blog post to get certain, to get a lead magnet, type of thing. But it was just valuable content, right? It was all about how to create services that scale. And I just promoted the heck out of that blog post. Why did I do that versus like a specific lead magnet or a specific, offer? because I knew that the content would differentiate me and it would attract the right people. Everybody else was putting up a landing page, you know, everybody else was putting out content that was very biz-oppy, you know, make a bunch of money in your sleep type of stuff. And so I put out a blog post that was good, solid, legitimate content and promoted that like crazy, because I knew that the people that would take the time to read that blog post were the right people. And it was very, very, very low friction. And it was very low cost per person to get them to respond to it, because it was just a blog post. And then I would retarget that audience with my lead magnets and my offers, but my lead magnets in particular, because then I'd get them on, you know, email, and email is by far easier and more effective to sell from in most cases than an ad. Okay. So the answer is both. I usually, you know, think of retargeting budget as like 15 to 20% of your budget, especially in the earlier days. That will go up as you really get kind of saturated in a market, because you don't need to run as much cold traffic anymore. So almost all of your budget can be retargeting at some point. It'll flip flop, right? If you're starting, it's cold traffic should be 85% of your budget, retargeting 15%. 5 years into it, depending on the size of your market, but 5 years into it, it may be 15% is on cold and now 85% is on retargeting, because the audience already knows who you are. You have them in your audience, you know, that type of thing. But the answer to me is always yes to all of it and test, right? And the reason I say yes to all of it is because there is no one thing. There is never any one thing. It's always a combination of things, right? Think about the people who really influence you. You know, yeah, maybe you got that lead magnet, but you also watched a YouTube video and listened to a podcast and saw an article where they were mentioned and all that stuff. And then you go and you buy their stuff, right? It's just, you know, we get input, you know, as human beings from all kinds of different sources. So the more of them that you can have out there, the better. Okay. So, and specifically, Tim, since we're talking about like the agency business there, I mean, you should be promoting, you know, a ebook, you know, lead magnet for the ebook. You should be running a webinar. You should be, you know, I mean, anything and everything that you can. That's the way to build that business as successfully as possible, and just keep hammering home the same points, just in a variety of different formats. What is the easiest way to dump a difficult customer who takes too much of your time when revenue doesn't support the time spent on their request? Just price everything up? Yeah, Tom, you can do that. To me, the easiest way is just to reach out to them and say, hey, Tom, look, man, I really appreciate your business, but I'm just going to be really honest with you, and that it doesn't make sense for us to keep you as a customer in the way that we currently have this relationship structured. I've done an analysis of my time. I've done an analysis of, you know, how we're earning and all that good stuff, and it just doesn't make financial sense. So unfortunately, I've got to do one of two things, which I will let you decide, and I perfectly, you know, I completely respect whatever decision you make. Either I need to raise my prices to X, or we need to go ahead and let you go as a customer. That's it. And then shut up and listen, listen for their response, right? But that's the best way. It's the best way, the easiest way. The other thing too, well, no, because this is as long as this is a customer that you actually want to work with, though. You said a difficult customer. If it's a customer that's not good for you, I would just fire him. I wouldn't worry about raising my prices. You will always end up better off getting rid of a bad customer. It doesn't matter how much they're paying you. I promise you. This is just like having a bad employee. If you have a bad employee, it's always the right thing to do to get rid of the employee. Always. Every single time. Every single time. Yeah. And so like Chico says, charge them per hour for your consultation. I absolutely would not do that. If they're a bad customer. I'm saying if they're a bad customer, I would absolutely just get rid of them, because they are sucking the life out of your business. You will only fully realize it when they're gone, and you replace them with a good customer. And here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. In a service business, in almost all service businesses, unless you have it really just automated and structured perfectly, in any service business where there's actually human time being sold in some way or another, like, if you're having to spend time as a human being fulfilling the service to that customer, the quality and profitability of your business is always based on the quality of the customer. Always. Your ideal situation is that you hit maximum capacity. And when you hit maximum capacity, you can look at every single customer and go, they're a 10 out of 10. Easy to work with, get the value of what we're doing, appreciate us, pay us on time, pay us at full prices, 10 out of 10. If you can say that about all of your customers when you're at full capacity, then you have a perfectly optimized, profitable business. Okay? If you cannot say that, what you should ideally be doing is going directly to them and saying, hey, look, either I got to get you to here, right? Whatever here is, to make them a perfect customer. And sometimes that's I have had, believe me, when I have had so many conversations in my service businesses where I call up Patrick, who's a long-term customer of mine, and I say, Patrick, look, man, I just want to talk to you very candidly. I've got a lot of respect for you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and I'm really glad that you've been a customer of mine for as long as you have. But I just got to tell you right now, it's a struggle for us. And here's why it's a struggle. You're not doing what you say that you're going to do. You're not holding up your end of the bargain. My team is busting their butt for you, trying to make sure that we can market your business effectively, and you're not following through. And believe it or not, this isn't just about the money for us. Our team cares, and they get evaluated based on how your marketing is doing, and they get very frustrated that you're not following through. So it's actually hurting my morale. And as much as I love you, I don't want to continue in a relationship like that where I feel like we can't do our best work because you're not doing your part. So I'm here giving you that feedback, asking you as a peer, CEO to CEO, do you want to make sure that you're getting this stuff done and kick it up a gear? Or, maybe we're not the right fit for you and we should look at, how we transition you. I've had that conversation, I bet you 100 times. And it always works with the good customers, which you'll find when you have a conversation like that, like 98% of them are good customers, and they're going to appreciate you coming to them and talking to them like that as a peer. They're going to go, you're looking out for my best interest. You're right. I need to kick it up a gear, right? The bad customers will go, talking to me like that, right? And they'll fire you. Perfect. It's a win either way. You got what you wanted either way. Okay. So I hope that helps you, Tom. How can I get a hold of the scoring system for the audit, Abigail? It's built into the original audit document. I know. Here, hold on one second. I can probably just pull it up. But if not, I can get it to you. So let me just check something real quick. I just pulled up the original version of the audit. Let me pull up the Surge to SaaS version. Yep. Cool. The audit document here. Let me just share my screen real quick. Let's do this real fast so you can see it. So there is the audit document. You can see right there, no 0 points, yes 2 points, no 0 points, yes 2 points, right there. So that's the scoring system, okay? And in HighLevel, you can play with how you want to actually do the scoring, whether or not you do that by showing any sort of trying to show any sort of score in HighLevel. Probably not. It's probably too difficult. Probably just give them the score afterwards in your feedback that you give to them. Okay, here's a link to that document. If anybody would like that. that document, since we're doing that here, hold on, since I'm giving away free stuff from my products, that is the audit survey from the R4 sales system. The R4 sales system is my signature sales system that I designed for my team years ago, and have used hundreds and hundreds of agencies have used it successfully. Many of the most successful agencies out there right now, like Clarence Fisher that I just did the call with yesterday. It's been the foundation of how he sells now for 10 plus years. And if you subscribe to HighLevel through me, that is one of many resources that you will get at no additional cost. If you join the Services That Scale Mastermind, that is one of the many resources that you will get at no additional cost at servicesthatscale.com/mastermind. Okay. So that R4 sales system is awesome. I swear up and down by it, and would love to get that in your hands so that you can make use of it as well. All right. Let's see here. Sorry, here, just getting back to the questions. Lots of good questions, gang. Thank you. Jonathan says, can I run a birthday campaign for multiple businesses under one ad, one business page on Facebook? And how would I distribute those leads to them? Can I run a birthday campaign for multiple businesses under one ad? Sorry, I had to reread that. Yeah, absolutely. The ad will go to a different landing page, right? So the landing page that you send it to will collect the leads directly into the autoresponder or CRM or a HighLevel of the individual particular customer. So for their San Diego, I could run their San Diego birthday ad that is being run for restaurant number 1. I could also run it for restaurant number 2. The ad itself would then go to a form. That form would be different customer by customer, so it would go into the proper accounts for each one. Okay. Patrick says, thanks, Mike. Got in on the audit. Clarence didn't get into his approach much, so wanted to ask. Happy to skip all the online presence ranking stuff. Cool. Awesome, Patrick. Yeah, and you know how to reach me if you have any questions on that. Joe says, evening, Mike. Evening, Joe. Starting my agency next Tuesday officially. Congratulations. Nice. And I already have 14 month worth of clients lined up. Awesome. I love it, man. Keep me posted. Good for you. Dwayne says, love the strategy for building remarketing pixels first. Have you led someone to an educational video versus article, and which is better? Yes, Dwayne. So I'm going to go back to my original answer. There is no better. There is follow the data and test. What I can tell you though, is that what is awesome with video is that you can build an audience just off of people watching the video. So they don't even have to click through to anything. So that's very attractive. So if you can put together a good video that gets people to, watch that video and stick around and tune into it, you can build an audience directly from the video. So that's slick. So definitely give that a good test. Alex says, without it feeling like a bait and switch when doing the media model, but offering agency services on the back end, under which name do you make your pitch? Oh, and there's no bait and switch about it at all. There's no bait and switch. It's just, it just is what it is, right? So in other words, Alex, what I would say is I'm running my media business and I'm selling advertising to people in my media business. And then for the customers that I think are an appropriate fit for our agency services, I'd say, hey, Alex, thank you so much for doing your advertising with us. This is awesome. This is one of the ways that we help businesses. We also have an agency division that does a little bit more, X, Y, and Z services for our customers. I think that it's a good fit. Looking at your business, is that something that we could introduce you to, some of the options and see if we can put together some ideas for you. So just like that. And then you could absolutely have it, it could be as easy as their media agency division. It doesn't even have to be a different business or anything like that. Just, we have this division, that division, the media division, the agency division. And that is exactly how most major media companies run now. If you look at the New York Times has the media division and they have an agency division. Pretty much every major media company runs that way now. So, but you could give it a totally different name if you wanted to. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, no doubt. You're welcome, Abigail. Yeah, it would be awesome if Go HighLevel offer a survey quiz score system. Yeah, I think that of course they will soon, right, Tim? And welcome, Tim. It's great to see you here, bud. Rajesh says, I wanted to ask you, your R4 changed. Is there an update for the doc or just rearrange the questions? No, there's an updated doc. If you go into the R4 Surge to SaaS section, there's a new audit in there, and that is the updated document. Yep. Yeah. Hold on. Let me just make sure, because I just said that just so easily. It just came off of my tongue as if I had actually changed it. Now I want to go back and make sure that I have. Yeah, I did. Yep. It's updated. So it's funny. Came across, that was just so easy for me to say, of course. Tim, there's no better, follow the data test. Yes, absolutely. That's right. Awesome, Jonathan. You bet. Let's see here. What do you say about paying for the Go HighLevel HIPAA? Once you subscribe, you cannot cancel. What is the best way to handle HIPAA as a beginner? I have no idea. The best way for me to handle HIPAA is to avoid the living heck out of anything that's that serious. That's my strategy. I have no clue, Abigail, to tell you the truth. I would have to look into it. I'm sorry. Rob, my man, been sitting back there patiently. How are you, sir?
Hey, great. Can you hear me okay, Mike?
I can, yeah. What can I do for you?
Sounds good. Well, I got like maybe 3 quick little round robin questions here for you, kind of spitfire.
Yeah.
So the first one is, how do you handle mobile apps for your sub accounts?
How do I handle mobile apps?
So like you've got a sub account, it's any type of business, automotive, fitness, they're using HighLevel for contact management. Mm-hmm. They want to do all their stuff on the app. I know there's a lot of companies out there that offer like apps that are kind of built in.
Oh, well, with HighLevel, you can use they can use the lead connector app with the lead connector. So you can offer them mobile access through the lead connector setup, that lead connector kind of brand.
Yep.
So you can just do that, or you can have your own white label app, your own branded app, right? Which is additional, $4.97 a month or whatever it is to have that. So they will build your own version of the app for you.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think it's a big deal. I personally would never invest in the branded mobile version to start. I don't think it's necessarily at all until financially it's just not even an issue for you. Once it's not an issue for you financially, if you want to do that to make sure they have your branded app out there, awesome. Until then, I would just use that lead connector version of it.
You found that to be effective, a decent app for people to use and stuff? And
yeah, I mean, I use it every day and I love it. It needs work, just like anything with HighLevel. You know, like there's always the things that you're like, oh, I wish they'd optimize this or that. They're constantly releasing updates on it here recently.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, it's got a lot more capability to it and thoughtfulness to some of the design and everything. You know, with these updates, it's still like I said, there are certain things about it where I'm just like, just, you know, clean this up and change that. But it's just fine. Yeah. Here, Tim's saying we give a lead connector app to all of our customers. So
thanks, Tim.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I just downloaded Lead Connector today and it looked pretty decent. I've been using the HighLevel just for myself, but now that I'm putting sub accounts that are using the software, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to proceed. So I guess the Lead Connector is the way to go.
Yeah. Yep.
As far as like, I know we're using reviews as a service, as part of one of the services in the offerings. Increase your Google reviews and increase your Google ranking. From a technical side, I know you can kind of put the GMB listing right in the, you know, the HighLevel right into their account.
Yep. Integrate.
Create the link. And I know you can do some workflows around that, send out the review link. Technically, what do you recommend as the best way from a workflow standpoint to use that review increase option, or if you will?
You know what, to tell you the truth, I'm not the best person to answer that. There's a handful of people on the team. I don't know. And actually Tim is on the call. I don't know if you've got a good answer for that, Tim, because I think you use that. Google My Business is not my area of expertise at all.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to give you a good answer there.
Sorry to put you in the weeds there. I know you're.
No.
I'm getting a ton of great high level business savvy stuff, but I'm trying to really get into the technical aspect.
Tim says you can speak to that. And Tim, if you're able to come on, awesome. Here, I'll put the link back in here. No problem at all, Rob. I like getting into the weeds. I just only like getting into the weeds on things that I know that I can actually give you a good answer and not some BS. So
sure.
Lots of things I can get in the weeds about. That's just not one of them.
While Tim's coming on, one of the ways I was thinking was just kind of putting into that like completed service. And then when you drag them over in your pipeline, it automatically kicks out that review link. I haven't done it, but I'm thinking that may be the way to do it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think something like that makes a ton of sense. Absolutely. Well, what's your next question?
I was just going to say my final question on the payments. I know, again, I'll use some of these softwares because, when you start getting into this and really start diving in, you see like there's a zillion of them are trying to get your attention. Yeah. Some of them really focus on payments being part of, managing your entire software. We're an all-inclusive software that you can run your whole business with, including payments.
Yeah.
Now I know we do have a payments option. They're just improved it to a recurring system that goes through Stripe. Do you know? Can you speak to the quality of the payment options through HighLevel? Can you get it to work with, say, like QuickBooks or anything like that?
No, I mean it's pretty darn limited right now.
That's what I thought.
And they've just rolled out some pretty significant new capabilities with it in terms of recurring payments and stuff like that. But it's pretty darn limited. You're going to find if you are looking for a true payment system for a business right now, it's just not there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just not. It's got a ways to go to be something like that. But if you're looking for certain use cases, it's just fine.
Right.
And so
a one-off invoice or just trying to get paid,
that type of thing. Yeah,
text a payment.
I'm going to shoot you a link real quick to get the $125 you owe me, whatever, that type of thing. But it is far from being like a sophisticated payment system at this point. So, you got to go in there and test and see, like, are the use cases good for me, good for my customers? It will get there. I know it is absolutely a strategic priority for them. So it's going to be a really nice, robust payment system at some point here in the relatively near future.
Okay.
It's just not there yet. So that's one that I would definitely
back burner.
And just do a thoughtful evaluation of what are the specific use cases and is this going to meet it or leave it lacking.
Thank you for that, Kendra. Mike.
Yeah. Tim, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for volunteering to be our backup question answerer here.
Oh, there was a question in there? No, just kidding.
Wait a minute. I didn't know what I was volunteering for.
Yeah, what? I just said no. Rob, you're talking about kind of getting the review stuff triggered, right? Yeah, I mean there is in the app and both desktop and mobile, there is a simple review request that, like, you go into settings and you set your GMB there to send it to, and it's just kind of it's a simple review request. We typically go beyond that, where we actually do set up a workflow, but we trigger it with either a tag or a stage in a pipeline. Okay. So the easiest way and the simplest way that we teach our customers is, like, when you're done with a project or you're done with a visit, whatever, just tag that customer with, we just call it review invite.
Okay.
So then that review invite tag triggers a workflow. And in our workflow, what we typically do is we'll send an immediate text. Hey, thanks for allowing us to serve you. We'd love your feedback. Here's the link. And then we send an email a couple minutes later, and then we'll follow up. If they haven't clicked on that link, then we'll follow up with another, like, 1 to 2 emails over the next several days. So that's how we typically do it for all of our customers.
Phenomenal. Thanks for that idea on the tag, Tim. That's I was thinking the pipeline slide, but the tag is actually a better idea.
Pipeline slide is great if they use it, but the problem is most small businesses are just not using that pipeline feature.
Yep.
And so the tag is so easy, you know, either desktop or mobile. You literally just pull it up and say add that tag, and boom, you're in the workflow then.
The nice thing about that too is there's that subjective step of, hey, I just had an interaction with that customer and that interaction went well.
Yes.
So, you know, much
you
higher.
Kind of leave the 1 stars in the back burner.
Yeah, that did not go well. No tag applied. Yeah.
I love that. That's why I was thinking the tag is probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So does that help though?
Perfect. Great does.
Awesome.
Really does. Thanks, Tim. And
Awesome.
thanks, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Jonathan says, and you guys are welcome to stay here. Jonathan says, I'm still trying to find my niche. Would you advise against using a foot in the door of a free website to local businesses and shaping my niche to those industries that are responsive to my offer? I mean, look, Jonathan, that's one way that you can go about it. I'm not a big fan of that personally, though. The reason why is I just think that you should ideally be more strategic about what is the big picture of your business, who are you trying to serve, why are you trying to serve them, what do you think the opportunity is there? I would just like you to be more strategic about that. If you're in services that scale, in my services that scale course, okay, there's training in there on how to evaluate a niche. There's training on how to develop a strategy. And I would much rather see you go through that thoughtfully and make a decision about a niche. Now, you may do that and result in, the result being, okay, I've got, 2 still, or maybe even 3. I'd say if you have more than 3, you're just being probably kind of intellectually lazy in terms of making a decision. I could see you having 2 for sure that you're I really like this one and that one. And so maybe you want to do some testing at that point, and have that be the final, straw in terms of making your decision. I don't like I'm just going to throw a bunch of stuff out there and see, what fish bites. Personally. Bobby, I think you have to turn on your camera or put in your camera. No, it looks like you're still there. It looks like you're there. Give it a shot.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Thanks. The question that you answered regarding the pitch, I would just like you to elaborate on that a little bit. So in your case of Dare San Diego, I know you have Dare San Diego, which is obviously the media property. Then you still offer the agency services on the back end. So I guess 2-part question. When are you making that transition of, hey, I think they are a fit of this? And is there a service that you offer to everyone that's kind of essentially, I don't want to say necessarily advertising with you guys, because that's still more a transaction, but I would say it's still in your pipeline. So maybe they are prospect, but they are, say, they have like something that's verified from you guys, like some type of mention or feature or something of the sort.
Yeah. So right now it's 100%. My media business is 100% a media business. It is 100% a media business. It's not an agency business on the back end right now. So I have other services that I am actually rolling out here very shortly into the marketplace associated with Air San Diego. Still not agency services though. And in terms of how I will make that transition, it will be completely fluid, other than if I bring you on to one service, I will make sure that I've fulfilled that service successfully before I then go and transition to introduce you to another service. So if you come in on advertising, I'm going to make sure I do a bang up job on the advertising. And then when I'm sitting down with you and reviewing the fact that I've done a bang up job on the advertising, I'm going to say, hey, Bobby, we also have agency services. And after working with you for a little bit and looking at your business, I think that we could really help you on that side as well. Do you mind if I spend a few minutes talking to you about what those are? And I would introduce it that way, but I would only do it after I've successfully nailed that first service.
Well, if the first service is not a paid service, so let's say you were just writing an article about them, right? And you're just like, hey, we would like to feature you, but we like to put some paid dollars behind it.
Yep.
In that scenario, going back to that initial question, would that be under their San Diego umbrella? Is it, a different brand? I guess my concern is that whole, bait and switch, like, hey, or you guys were just doing this, to front cover, basically you trying to sell me whatever on the back end. Like, is that something to worry about? Or that's more something just more so internal within myself?
I feel like you're worrying about something that doesn't need to be worried about. Like, why you're using the language bait and switch? Why would you consider that a bait and switch?
I mean, just typically, if you think of, again, the New York Times, that's not theoretically known as a company that uses advertising services, right? So yes, they do the newspaper publication stuff, but if they start offering SEO, well, that's not typically their wheelhouse, right? So in a sense, that's not, their core business.
Okay, so let's address this though, because the New York Times is a huge affiliate marketer and also a big agency as well. Now that happened in recent years, in the last 10 years, that's been a shift in the industry, right? And that's a shift in the industry that happened because partly out of necessity, partly out of competition, all that type of stuff. But the only reason that that's a problem in anybody's mind at all is because the New York Times is expected to have some sort of editorial accountability as a media company, because it's arguably one of the most influential media brands in the world. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, as the last 5-6 years in particular, 8 years has demonstrated, people believe what they read or don't believe what they read, and it's a crisis, literally. So there is actual concern about, hey, New York Times, you could really be causing problems in society. Nobody's concerned about that with their San Diego. I mean, everybody knows their San Diego is a business for making money, and there is no editorial, pedestal that we're expected to stay standing up on or anything like that. I just don't think I don't think it's anything that anybody's actually going to worry about. Like if I was writing a good article for your business and publishing that, Bobby, on their San Diego, everybody knows that I'm a business. So if I then reach out to you with that article and say, hey, Bobby, we published this article. It's doing great. It's getting lots of good feedback in our community. People love it. People would love to hear more about your business. I was wondering if I could take a few minutes to talk to you about some of the advertising options that we have to, promote this content even further out into the marketplace, or do some additional services that could support, your message and your brand in the market. Like, okay. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. And then whether or not I do that as their San Diego or something else, I would absolutely call and initiate, hey, this is Mike from there, San Diego. You can see our team put together this really great content. It's doing really well for you. You're getting you got 300 clicks on that already just in the last 2 weeks. We also have, these services, and then whether or not those services have a different brand name or it's positioned as a different company or whatever, I think it almost doesn't matter at all, as long as when you initiate the call, you're calling from the brand that they know, so that you can make that initial connection and you can make a smooth transition to the new thing without it seeming like all disjointed. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think obviously what's most important is you get confident in how you're presenting it, because that's going to make an impact on the conversation that you're having. So whatever works for you, I think, just do what you need to do to get there. But I really don't feel like, I really feel like some of the concerns are probably just in your head and not really in the head of the marketplace.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for the confirmation.
Yeah, you bet. And in fact, here's Tim. So Tim, Tim, was running a business just like mine, but he's actually got more of the agency services on the back end too. Says the editorial versus advertising conflict goes out the window with new media sites like ours. Yeah. So, something to consider there.
Okay, good. Thanks, Tim.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Bobby. Should I start drop shipping or go towards starting my SaaS agency? Oh, Christian, welcome, my man. It sounds like you're a new entrepreneur looking at, some different options. That's awesome, by the way. Congrats, and I love it. I personally would stay far away from drop shipping right now. And the reason why I say that, Christian, I know that it was a very heavily promoted business opportunity, and a lot of people did very well with it. I was doing some pretty similar, stuff for quite a while and had a very fast growing, e-commerce business for a while. It is a business that is so commoditized in today's world. So in other words, what I mean by that is if you can drop ship those products, everybody else can drop ship those products too. So you can have a bazillion competitors that look just like you and nobody can tell the difference and all that. But most importantly right now, man, Christian, I assume that you're starting your business because you want freedom and you want to make money, right? Those are probably the two most common reasons. Man, a drop shipping business right now where you could be dependent upon supply chains from China, from Europe, even from within the United States. Talk about not being a fun thing to be involved in unless it's going perfectly well at the moment. It's all good if it's going perfectly well at the moment. But man, we just about, and we're not out of the woods right now, right? We almost had our railroads just shut down in the United States. You want to see a bunch of businesses go to shit real fast? Have our railroads go on strike, right? You want to see a bunch of businesses go down real fast? Have China and the United States get into a little trade war here over the next couple of years because we don't like what they're doing with Russia and they don't like what we're doing with whatever. Your drop shipping business will disappear overnight. So I personally absolutely recommend that you do something more in SaaS and build that to a nice little, comfortable recurring revenue base. And then from there, you can always consider other options, but at least I would get that going first. Abigail says, Mike, you also have content delivered for other niches. No, I do not, Abigail, anymore. I used to. There just wasn't enough demand at the time. It's actually probably a good opportunity now, but I don't have that right now. Net marketing advantage. I think the question of how to transition comes up so much because many people use the media company to initiate a conversation to what they really want to sell. The media is the foot door. Yeah, absolutely. But I still don't. I think it's only like the transition is only awkward if you make the transition awkward. And so I will tell you the way that a lot of people have been taught in this industry to do that, I think creates the bait and switch situation, which is, they pretend to be interested in producing content for you when really all they're interested in is getting you to pay. Right. So that whole let me interview you for the podcast. And that was a great interview. And if you'd like us to publish it, it's only $500. There's been a bunch of nonsense like that that's out in the marketplace. There's also just other let me cut to the chase here because there's an incredibly important lesson in this. If you are doing anything in your sales process to somehow or another kind of hide your intentions or to manipulate versus serve and add value, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And there is going to be, at some point in that process, something where you feel a little sick to your stomach, or your prospect does. And the reason why is because that's some scammy sales shit. And nobody should be doing that, right? Nobody should be doing that. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that in this world right now. And there's a lot of people out there teaching you that, you should do this awkward dance where then at the end you tell them really what you're doing is you're trying to sell them XYZ and make some money. That's all wrong. It's nonsense. And that's why you don't feel good about it, right? And that's why the transition doesn't feel good. Versus if you start with, I'll give you a handful of options here. One, you do what I do at There San Diego, which is I just publish content out the wazoo for every business around here that I possibly can at no cost. Just all day, every day. We're just publishing articles about the businesses. Why? One, because we want to support those businesses. Two, because it gets us attention, which is what a media business is. It gets us attention so that we can sell advertising. Okay? But there is never any situation where I'm hiding my intentions or I'm using that in any sort of manipulative way to try and sell. Now, I will go to a business and I will say, hey, Tim, we can put together some really awesome content for you and guarantee that it gets 50,000 views in the marketplace. And here's how much the cost of that is. And Tim goes, oh, so I have to pay you to run content about my business? No, Tim, we will run content about your business all day long. If you've got an interesting story to tell that we think our readers are going to enjoy, we publish content all day long about businesses, okay? The reality may be, Tim, in your particular case, in your particular business, that the story of whatever it is that you're trying to get promoted out there may not be interested enough to get very much interest at all unless we promote it using paid advertising. And so we can do that to make sure that it gets the visibility. Not every business has something going on that's so sexy and interesting that it's going to get a ton of traction. So we sometimes have to push it out there. So that's what I'm offering you, is to put together a paid promotion using content to get your business some more visibility. So it is never any bait and switch there. It's super clear. Here's what I do. Here's how I do it. Here's why I do it. Here's how much it costs. Here's why it costs that much. Like, I can answer all of those questions with complete integrity to anybody that I'm talking to. So as an example, and we don't publish every story, right? I mean, I get who knows how many businesses reach out to us every day with, oh, Mike, would you put this story up on your website? The answer is oftentimes no. Why? Because we are a media business. There is an editorial process to our business. Editorial means edit, which means, we look through stuff, we cut stuff, we decide what we want to share. Why? Why don't we just share everything? It literally costs me. I spend money on a human being to create that content and put it up on my site. So if you're giving me something to share on my site that I know is not newsworthy, I'm not going to share it. And then if you really want it shared, I'll say, I will tell you directly. I actually just had this conversation with a winery here in the last 24 hours. I said, I'm sorry, this just is not newsworthy. It's a promotion. If you want to run a promotion with us, here's how much it costs. Otherwise, I'm not going to have my team spend time on it. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. It's not newsworthy. So there's no fair trade there for us to go and create content for you, Mr. Business, when your business is not doing anything interesting. Right? So it's a very, very direct, clear conversation. There's never any bait and switch. If you're doing anything in your sales process where you feel like you're kind of being sneaky or scummy or anything like that, you're doing it all wrong, right? You're doing it all wrong. So you should just be able to go straight to a business and say, hey, here's what I do. Here's how much it costs. Here's why I think it's great for your business. I would love to have your business. Let's do it, right? That's the way it should work. My thought on the media and agency side is if you help the client succeed by advertising on your own media site, upgrading to do the same with our own assets through agency side makes total sense. Yeah, of course. We run into sometimes by adding agency services to our media advertisers that they have spent all the advertising budget on our media. Hey, look, if they're spending all the money on your media, great, because that is some serious high margin stuff, right? Media is awesome. Please comment on why you updated your original R4 sales system to the newest one called R4 Surge to SaaS. Yes. So Mike, it's a great question. I redesigned R4. The Surge to SaaS is very specifically sales process, language, everything designed to sell systems as a service, ideally using HighLevel, but it doesn't have to be. I just say ideally because I love it, but it's very specifically designed to help you sell that and start selling it right away, even if you don't have all of the answers as to exactly how you're going to fulfill it yet. Okay. So let's just say, Mike, you understand conceptually what it is that HighLevel can do. And you're like, okay, I know that I can build this powerful marketing system for these businesses. But I'm not 100% sure on every dial I have to turn and button I have to press. But I also want to get out in the marketplace and start selling, because as we talked about in the beginning of this call, that sales cycle can be long. So I hate for any of you to be sitting around trying to become the perfect master of HighLevel before you start doing your sales and marketing, because you can put yourself 6 months behind the curve really quickly. So I would prefer that you have a sales process that allows you to sell. The Surge to SaaS is designed to do that. And the reason why I say it's designed to do that is because, in particular, it has the surge built into it. And the surge is a window of time that you are going to communicate to your customer. Hey, Mike, when you come on board, what we're going to do is we're going to do a very thorough evaluation through our audit of what your current marketing systems and capabilities are at your business. And then we are going to compare that to the ideal systems and capabilities that you should have and that we have available to you in our system. And then we're going to go to work to fill the blanks. Okay. And we're going to do that during this process that we call a surge. Okay. So Mike, the reason why we call it a surge is we have our team put in the effort to really surge to bring all of the new marketing systems and capabilities to your business on day one that we go live, rather than what most services do is we identify all these weak spots in your marketing. And then it takes us a year, to sequentially roll out. First, we're going to roll out a new website. Then we're going to roll out a new review system. Then we're going to roll out a new, whatever, right? And next thing you know, it's a full year before you have all these capabilities. We don't want you to wait that long. What we want to do is bring them all to you on day one when we go live with our services. So our team is going to dig in and we're going to do this surge, this push to make sure that we get it all done for you. Okay. And that process can take, a couple of weeks or so, Mike, before we go live, depending on your scenario. So what that does, Mike, is that gives you that couple of week window that you can really dig in to HighLevel and go, okay, I got to get some of this stuff figured out for this customer. I got a live customer. They're ready to pay. I've got 2 weeks now to get this thing understood, set up and running, and delivered to them. You can do that in 2 weeks. And it's amazing how fast you learn when you've got a paid customer that's waiting for you to deliver. Okay. Versus, again, if you just take the route of, I'm just going to go learn HighLevel at my own pace and become a HighLevel guru, and then I'll start selling. Like I said, next thing you know, it's 6 months later, 9 months later, you're still not really doing any selling. You're still not really signing on any customers. And you probably are not that much better at HighLevel because you haven't had the pressure to really push you to learn aggressively. So that is why that got redesigned that way, is I wanted to solve that problem for so many people that I saw that were struggling with this, I've got to go learn HighLevel first. And also then, Mike, it's restructured. The 4 R's are restructured. And this is really, really important. The bottom 2 R's now the R's have been switched around. So now the bottom 2 are reputation and resell. It used to be reputation, reach, resell, and referral. Now it is reputation, resell, reach, and retargeting. Okay. I swapped out referral with retargeting. You don't have to follow my lead there if you don't want to. You can put referral back in there, whatever it is. But the reason why I've swapped out referral with retargeting is building a good referral system is obviously it's oftentimes quite challenging. Versus retargeting can be done, by anyone, anytime, pretty darn easily. It's super powerful. It's super effective. You can just get that. It's a great service, right? So you can build it into what you're doing for them with HighLevel very easily by doing, integration of workflows into their custom audience building and Facebook, things like that. So I like that as the fourth R. It's also something that every business should be doing for sure. And then the reputation and resell are now in place as the base 2 levels, because in your conversation, you can communicate to the business owner that these are the foundation that every business should have. You should be investing in your reputation, protecting your reputation. There's no argument against that, right? And you should be reselling the customers that you've worked so hard to get, because if you're not making the most of each customer relationship and maximizing the lifetime value of that customer, you're never going to have as profitable of a business as you should have. So you should have those systems in place before you go spend a lot of money on advertising, Mr. Customer, right? Which is what reach is. At that reach level, now we've got the systems in place so that we can invest in reach, knowing that we can maximize the results of those reach campaigns, because that's where marketing can become more expensive, right? So the good news is for you, agency, Mike, is that reputation and resell are awesome automated asset-based services that you can set up using HighLevel that a customer will pay you for from now until the rest of eternity. Only 15 or 20% of your customers are actually going to invest consistently in reach-based services, doing like ad campaigns and stuff. Most small businesses are not going to do that. So the way it's structured now, it's very natural to get all of your customers on the reputation or resell levels. And then a percentage of them, if you want to, you can upsell to the reach level. But you don't have to, because you'll build a really, really good business just on the customers that are paying you to use the tools and getting your assets at the reputation and resale level. Okay. That's a mouthful. I know, Mike, I just gave you a lot there. If you go into the R4 Surge to SaaS training and go through it, the very first videos I explain, hey, here's why I restructured and how I restructured it. Okay. Let's see here. Rajesh says, can I go in this path? MSP Academy, R4, leverage selling, implementing the things I learned before moving to the next one. Yeah, I mean, Rajesh, there is no next one. I mean, really, if you go in and go through MSP Academy and start using R4 and leverage selling, I mean, that's your business. So you really, that's all you need to do. I mean, those are the highest level resources that I have for you. Okay. MSP Academy is all about service design and service delivery. R4 is the specific sales system. And then leverage selling is, the more strategic, conceptual, ongoing, how do we now maximize what we designed in MSP Academy and R4 to build our brand, get our attention, fill our opportunity funnel, and do that on an ongoing basis, from now until forever. Right. So absolutely. All right. Awesome. It looks like I'm out of questions, which is good because I'm out of time. I'm actually running a bit late here, so I got to get on to a next call. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to office hours. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for your business and attention. I always appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. And we will see you on the next office hours call and see you inside of the Circle community or Facebook community. Until then, okay? Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Rajesh. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a great Friday. Awesome. Thank you, Mike. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you, everybody. All right. Very good. Have a good one. We will see you on the next call. Take care.